So making my own colloidal oats today, much easier and cheaper than buying them. Well, maybe not easier because you can just buy the colloidals, but making them is much cheaper. I'll show you what I did. This is a great device and not too expensive. It's the NutriChef. I've had it a while, so there may be newer versions. I forget which model it is. I'll try to post that in the link. And then I just use a bucket. These, I don't think it's one of my 25-pound buckets. It's not one of my normal ones, so it might be a little bit less, maybe a 15-pound or 20-pound bucket. And then I do label it. I label everything I do. That way I know the date that I made or produced it. And then I just bought the Quaker Oats, the old-fashioned Quaker Oats, not flavored or anything, no preservatives, no artificial flavors, 100% whole grain. I did buy a bunch of them, so that makes it easier. I have what I need. I keep some of them whole, so I have a bunch in a bucket that are left whole like this, and then I'm making a bunch into the colloidals. So I do keep it unplugged until I'm ready to do it, so you see my device is unplugged back there. I did put them in. I'll show you the blade in a little bit because I already poured them in. This one, you have to make sure it's seated right. There's a lock and an unlock. I don't have my nails done, so ignore that. I know I have a nail company, but here we go. So that's the unlock. So when you put it on, you got to make sure it's in locked position. There's also arrows here. These have to line up. So that has to lock in. Did you hear that pop? Whoops. Hear that pop into place? So now I poured mine in ahead of time. You can feed it as you go into this, and then you can push stuff down. For this, I just poured them in ahead of time. I'm going to plug this bad boy in back here. And I do use a surge protector for pretty much everything I do. And yes, I do own Zebra Glitter and Nails. You'll see all my stuff in the background here. This one has a pause and then an on-off. Right now I have it on 0, so I'll zoom in here so you can see it a little better. So I'm going to turn it on, and then I turn it all the way up to 15, if you can hear me. I do let it take breaks every now and then. I just started doing this. I don't think it will overheat. These aren't like major thick items that we're chopping up or pureeing, not pureeing, but powdering, I guess, is a better way. I also have a device that I use for milling powder for acrylic powder, smaller, to make it into dip powder. I may try one of those at some point, not the same one I use for dip powder, but one that I use for body care. But anyways, we're going to turn this on again. It's loud once I start, so sorry, I should have said this first. I turn it on, and then I turn it up to 15 for this and let it go for a little bit. And then before I open it and do anything, I look inside. You can see most of this is milled pretty small. This one does pretty good. It's not a high-end food processor. It's on the lower end, but it works for what I need. I'm going to do it one more time. The other device I have is actually for milling powder, or we're going to unplug it before we open it. That way we don't chop fingers off. Not that we would, but it could happen. So we're going to open it, just unlock it, and you saw me unlock the base. And then as you pour it in, I'm going to pull the blade out so it doesn't dump on me. So this is the blade that we're using for this. There's different blades, different attachments. This one has a juicer and all sorts of stuff. But we're just going to dump this in the bucket. Tap it down. You'll see the really fine milled stuff in the corners here. Sorry, I know this is probably really noisy. Okay, just don't break your cup. All right. And that's all there is to it. So then to do more, we're just going to pop it in. So I lock it into place. We're going to put that attachment back in. Okay, make sure it's seated. We're going to open another bag of the oats, which I did not plan ahead. Let me sit you down a second here. See if we can get this open. Sorry, noisy. Of course, the one. Oh, I just threw them everywhere. Well, don't do that. You can cut them open if you'd rather, so you don't throw them everywhere. Okay, so then we're going to pour in the amount that we want, which I'm trying not to make a mess here. I'm doing this one-handed, not very smart. Okay, you can put as many as you want in there or as few. So obviously it's going to mill quicker the less you have in. I kind of like to get stuff done, so I tend to put more in. Again, lock that. So the base is locked, the top is locked. Plug it in. I always suggest doing it this way. That way you don't hurt fingers. Just turned it on myself. Hello. One more time. We're going to mill it. So on, and then I turn it up to 15. So, if you don't like the noise, and let me tell you, with my new hearing aids, this is loud. But as you can see, that smelled really good in there. Now, I don't have gloves on, so I'm not touching the powder. I did wash my hands really good, so you always want to wash, sanitize everything you're going to use. So this was sanitized very well before I started. I do use gloves when I work with body care, but today, just doing this, I'm not touching any of the oats, so I don't have gloves on at the moment, but I did wash my hands and wipe down the unit first with alcohol. Okay, turn it on again, that 15 here, and then power that up. You can walk away from it for a few seconds, but I wouldn't just leave it going. That's just me. I used to be a firefighter, so you never know. Any appliance can catch fire or malfunction, so I always stay nearby. Again, I always use a surge protector as well. One more time. And look at that, we have colloidal oats, much cheaper than buying them. If you find that you want it milled finer, you can put it back in again. Just keep going until it's the way you want it. Again, unplug it. Make sure before you start, you've wiped down all your surfaces. You've wiped down your products. Everything's good. I've turned that off. We're gonna unlock the top. We're going to pull the blade out. Yeah, I just set it on top here because my whole unit is clean. My countertop is too, although it doesn't look like it. There's just glitter everywhere, but it's stuck. It's like embedded, even though stuff's wiped down. And then I'm just going to dump it in there. And I've got 3 more bags that I'm doing today. And then I'll store this so I can make soap and body care with it. But that way I have my whole oats and I have my colloidal. So the colloidal's finer milled. Again, I'm not going to touch that down in there because I don't have gloves on, even though my hands are clean. There we go. Okay, so that's how you make colloidal oats. If you have questions, let me know. I'll put directions in the comments or attachment. So like, subscribe, and follow, and we'll be back again. We'll be making honey and oat soap this week, or maybe an oat and sage soap. But that's what it is. So it's just Quaker oats and a food processor. You can also use a milling machine and a grain powdering machine. I'll show you one of those later this week maybe. So I'll be back. But anyways, this is Bridget. Have a great day.